Well, good morning. So Andy is all about sky's the limit. He has helped various brands from end to end by focusing on consumers specifically, and he has achieved a lot of great things which we will hear from Andy himself. Let's welcome Andy on 10 minutes of hiring wisdom. Hi Andy, how are you doing today?
Thanks, Manal. I'm doing great.
So Andy, can you tell us about your company, what caused you to start it, and just like where did the inspiration come from?
So I started Communicano as a virtual marketing services agency back in 1992, 93. I had been working at the Upper Deck Company overseeing all of their sports marketing, public relations, and really positioned the business to be successful. And then one day we all found ourselves out of a job. And
Oh,
rather than go back to work for anybody, I decided to start a company. And that company now is 28 years later and doing really well. We've gone through various changes and transitions. We got real big, we got small, we're growing again. But everything is all relative. I've been in the marketing communications industry space since I was 14. I've been working at usually startups or helping startups. My first job was a startup sports team. The second job was a startup sports organization for a established NHL hockey team in Philadelphia. And many of those programs still exist today. And the more I thought about it, I realized I was in this space of helping startups grow. And now, 28 years later, after launching Communicano, we're doing that very successfully with now 54 exits and about $5.5 billion raised
wow.
for founders, executives, and investors.
So did you, oh, as in like why marketing? Like a lot of people usually like focus on different fields. What was something about marketing that you were like, okay, this is something that I want to pursue a career in?
I really think I'm an accidental marketer, just like I'm an accidental winemaker. Things have a way of falling in your lap. I was 14 and selling an ad for a junior high school yearbook, and somebody offered me a job, not just a opportunity to sell them an ad. So that led to me working in the mailroom of a pro sports team, and then 2 weeks later in the public relations and operations department of that same pro lacrosse team. And a few years later, the Philadelphia Flyers came knocking and asked that I would help them start something to basically build their future fan base, which is still in existence today. And they've never not been sold out since we were doing that, and actually even before we started. So the marketing and public relations, advertising, events, integrated marketing has been in my DNA since I was a teenager. So I really don't know how to do anything else.
Okay, so as in like then you must be really a people's person because you can deeply connect with them and then you can make sure that you can put yourself in the shoes of our customers in order to come up with strategies that would best cater to their needs. Is that correct?
The whole idea is to understand the business objectives of the client or of the company you're working for or with, and to set out the strategies and tactics that will support those business objectives at being reached.
Okay, so wow, as in like that's very exciting. So can you tell us about your company now? What does your company exactly do?
Well, I like to say that we're in the value creation communication sector, in that we help drive value for the business by reaching into three audiences. The first audience would be the customer base. The second would be the ecosystem that they work within as part of being able to drive business and work with others like minded that can help them. And the third is attracting the right investors or acquirers. So that's why we define it as value creation communications.
Okay, and what does your company exactly do?
Well, we plan first everything from strategy to implementation. I own three agencies now. I own Communicano, brand communication design with a partner, and Winetoria with a partner. And the idea is that at every step of the way is to figure out how to break the mold of communication, figure out how to get that story told. So first we define the story, then we set the positioning, then we figure out the messaging. But all of that is just simplification of what's really important. You have to have a story that you can tell that's clear, concise, compelling, and contagious. You then have to have legend. Legend is out there, which is what people learn about you, hear about you, find out about you. The legend of Manal will be set when you move to your new company, or it might be based upon what you did in college. And then the most important, there's what's known as the backstory. Those are all the facts and information that support both your legend of what people hear and learn and discover about you, as well as what you tell. So the very first thing we do is help companies determine their story using an approach known as the architecture of identity.
Okay. I love how you guys take a very step by step approach. It's a very holistic approach where each step is well defined because some companies usually focus on one step. You focus on the whole package and making sure that you come up with a strategy that would best cater to your client's needs. So it's very impressive. And it's like a roadmap which has different steps. So it's definitely really impressive. So kudos to you to coming up with such like amazing process for your clients.
Well, I think that stems from my background as in integrated marketing. And when you work for a sports team, you have to do a little bit of it all. You have to do the PR, the events, the advertising, the marketing, the promotion. So learning that at the ages of 14 till I was about 28 and then continuing on, you really figure out that it's important to be able to offer the complete package. You're not just selling one aspect of the business or one aspect of advertising or marketing. Advertising is broken down into obviously creative services, account management, media, research, and administration. Well, you also have to understand being able to apply promotion or sales promotion, direct marketing, digital marketing these days. So you have to understand where the web plays into everything and all types of digital communication. We look at it in a very holistic way, as you pointed out, and also in a very um, original way. There's no one set Communicano way of doing it. Every client is different. As the Brits would say, it's a very bespoke approach to tailoring.
Wow. Okay, I can definitely see how unique it is. So, has the pandemic affected your company? Like, are you guys still hiring? How has the pandemic shifted the way you deal with your clients
Well,
specifically?
for the last few years, I've been operating more as a solo act versus having the 30 people who used to work for the company. And we've scaled
Mhm.
down, but we've scaled up. And now I've just added a director of client service who also oversee our social media activities, who's also my partner in the Winetoria business, which is all about wine discovery of underdiscovered wines and emerging wine regions and emerging wineries. So we're combining a lot of elements and moving into more of my passions. I love
Mhm.
wine. I make wine. I win competitions with the wines I make. But more importantly, the we're looking at combining things. The second agency, brand communication design, or brand, or what we call BCD, is all about building the brand. So if Communicano is building the story, BCD is building the brand.
Okay. And like, okay, so you've scaled down, but you scaled up as well and everything. But do you think, as in, like, is it most, or do you usually work from home? How exactly, as in, like, has it changed for you or no?
So Communicano has been virtual since the first day I started it. And even though for about a period of 2 or 3 months there was a office where people could go to work, nobody wanted to go there. They used to like coming to my house. And I've always worked partially from home, even when I was working in the sports world, because either daytime or nighttime you'd have to do things and you have to work from home. I've had a phone in my home office for years. Obviously now I have a phone wherever I go with mobile devices. But the reality is that we were one of the first pioneering agencies to ever have an office in somebody's home back in 1988 or 89, rather, when I worked for Footcone Belding's Impact Division. It was probably the most profitable 10 square feet of office space anywhere in the agency when we ran the numbers. And then when I started Communicano in 1992, 93, the decision was I didn't have enough money to rent an office. So I decided just to put it in the spare bedroom. And that's what I've been doing. So now I often say to people when they say, "Where's your office?" I said, "Where'd I leave my phone or my laptop?"
Well, you paved the way and pioneered for every other business. So, wow, okay, that was very, as in, like, very remarkable because people usually think of home as a just like they want to create a line between work and their home, but you managed to set up an office within your house and created a safe space for your employees to come in. So that's very inspiring.
Well, the idea is that
That's
we
definitely.
wanted to create a relaxing environment. We use all the virtual tools because Communicano has been a market leader in the area of telecommunications, mobility, and collaboration. Everybody who was working on the team was very comfortable working alone or working from home. And that's a key hiring decision that you have to make, which is to understand that you have to hire people who can be very good in their own skin and don't require that clingy culture thing of I need to have people around me or I don't feel good. And then the other thing is that we found that more people who we hired got more things done working at home because they didn't just work 9 to 5. They worked, and we never had a calendar per se. The rule was always be available when your client needs you. Always respond to your phone calls and emails within a short time period, and be ahead of your clients. And that was our stock in trade, and it remains to this day.
Wow. So as I can definitely see because I think if you're specifically working remote, you can't have constantly micromanage you. You have to be accountable yourself. And your employees definitely were accountable for yourself because you guys are doing so well. So the last question, Andy, for the day. Are you guys hiring? What kind of roles are you looking for? And if people do want to apply to your company specifically, what is something that would increase your chances of getting that dream job with your
If they want
company?
to work for us, they should send me a note through LinkedIn. I find that LinkedIn's the best way because then I can figure out who they are and look at their profile before I respond. Number two, are we hiring? Again, growing up in sports, the right player comes along. You're certainly going to want to look at the player's capabilities and see if they're able to fit into your mold. So the question is not, am I hiring? It's, is the right person coming along that we'd want to consider either for today, tomorrow, or be a future draft pick?
Okay, perfect. You summarized that up really well, Andy. It was a pleasure having you as a guest and learning from you. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
today.
Manel. Have a great weekend.